Hi there, good morning and a very warm welcome. Thanks for tuning into the Breakfast Club. I'm Kritsween and well, it is an action-packed Tuesday lined up here on the Breakfast Club this morning. First up, we will explore leadership through horsemanship, something you might have not heard of as yet, but we're right here to decode this entire brilliant concept for you. Two special guests will be joining in this morning. They will walk us through how working with horses can transform the way we understand influence, communication and presence. It's leadership training without the boardroom and yet full of trust, empathy and honesty that animals reflect back to us. Basically, we're about to find out how working with a 1,000-pound partner can transform your leadership style. And then on the Breakfast Club, we'll turn to our person of interest. We shift gears into the world of art and reflection with the extraordinary mirror artist, Akbar Momim. One of his most stunning pieces of Ram transforming into Hanuman has broken the internet. He joins us to talk to us about the idea, the thought, and his entire creative process. So we're as much a part of his story going forward. And then finally, we bring to you a special report from the automobile sector, the overdrive verdict this morning on Suzuki XP. How does it hold up and what's the actual experience behind the wheel? That and much more coming up this morning. All right, first we're diving into leadership approach, a leadership approach that's unexpected as it is powerful, one that takes you out of meeting rooms and straight into the open field. A method that's literally a breath of fresh air and yes, a true ride of a lifetime. It's called leadership via horsemanship. That's the concept. It's an ancient model that teaches leadership lessons not from boardrooms but from the stable. Yes, you heard that right. Leaders learn skills like empathy, awareness, communication and presence, all by working with horses. Why horses though? While horses are highly intuitive creatures, they mirror human emotions instantly. If you're anxious, frustrated or disconnected, the horse reflects all of that. It's like holding up a mirror to your own leadership style. Psychologists and behavioral studies show that animals, especially horses, can provide immediate feedback on emotional intelligence and decision making. At its core, the concept is built on three principles: presence, integrity and empathy, which means truly being in the moment with your team, aligning your words, actions and intentions while understanding and responding to the emotions of others. Sounds simple, but it's not all smooth sailing. Horsemanship-based leadership also comes with its own challenges, which we'll try and touch upon too. Some see it as niche or luxury training. You also need access to horses and skilled facilitators, so that's a little bit of a challenge there. But working with horses is not just about riding. It encourages mindful, emotionally intelligent leadership, sharpens patience and adaptability, strengthens confidence under pressure, and ultimately enhances your authentic leadership style. Which leads us to a bigger thought: if a horse can read us so clearly, respond so honestly, and reflect exactly who we are, what does that mean for the future of this kind of a leadership training process, and how much can this model be brought to the mainstream? Where are we currently at? Let's quickly go across to our guest this morning, dive a little deeper. Joining us this morning, first up is Gaurav Rampal, international bloodstock specialist and educator at the Horseman Way. He will be taking us through all of his personal stories of interaction and what do these horses really do to our minds. Shireen Wadia, CEO of KM Hospital, Pune and partner Yaravada Stud and Agricultural Farm, is our second speaker this morning. Hi, good morning to the both of you. Thank you for taking out the time. Lovely to have you. It's a conversation I'm sure everyone tuned in is looking forward to. And Gaurav, the first question that is bound to come to one's mind is, what is it that horses do that can enhance your leadership skills? So let's start with that.
Well, thank you very much for having us, and thank you for the great introduction. Your team has done a great homework on the subject. Well, to come to that point, briefly I would say horses show you the mirror on who you are. They show you the way you show up. They act as a mirror to your true energies, to your true personality. So that's a bit of a litmus test to who you are.
A litmus test to who you are. How did you first discover this connection between horses and human leadership skills, Gaurav? What's the personal story here?
Personal story is that I have been in the horse business for a quarter of a century now. I have been observing horse behavior, horse psychology, horse pedigrees, and horse biomechanics for over 25 years now. I'm one of the fortunate ones who could make a career out of a passion. I fell in love with the horse at a very young age, at the age of 6. Had the courage to pursue it at a later stage, and I've made a good living out of it. I know this is an advice which is freely given but rarely followed, which is follow your passion. Yes, it is rarely followed, but I am an example of someone who could actually do that. So while working with horses, it actually is a very niche world. I wanted to stay connected with the youth, so I would end up doing a lot of sessions at various business schools in and around Pune. And that's where I realized that with every interaction with horse, every interaction is a lesson in negotiation and leadership. And that's where the seeds were born for my program, The Horseman Way. There's a lot of literature around it. There is a small community in Europe and US that does practice it. So I connected with all of them. And that's how this came into fruition with the help of none other than Shirin, who's been a great supporter of the program.
A great supporter of the program, and I think it runs in the family, Shirin, isn't it? But
yeah,
let's get to the science a little bit. Let's get to what research is laid out for us, and to really piece this together, tell us what is it that horses do that almost becomes a mirror image to how you're feeling, what leadership skills you're bringing to the table. What is this mirror job that horses are doing so well?
Okay, I'll come to the mirror bit, but I'll explain to you the 4 pillars of our program.
Okay, Gaurav, can I come back to you in just a bit?
Yeah,
let's quickly go across to Shirin. That was for her to just understand what's the science here.
There's actually, a lot of science that is out there, and there's a lot of studies actually, some done in Japan, some done by the National Institutes of Health. So this is becoming a much more known thing. And actually the whole concept of horses and well-being goes back centuries. I mean, the ancient Greeks would say, ride a horse to feel physically or psychologically better. So this isn't something that is actually new, but it's something that is coming to light much more, as I think some people feel the necessity, especially in today's world, to be able to connect with things that are outside of just, the normal humdrum and the chaos of everyday life. So there's actually a lot of studies that show that horses have something called mirror neurons, which can actually mirror part of it also comes from them being prey animals and having to be extra alert and cautious because they are social animals who are also hunted. They obviously have to have very honed communication skills with each other. But what also happens is this reflects then in their communication with human beings also, which is being more and more researched and more found, and which is why also leadership is one very important aspect, because we're also trying to create more empathetic leaders, which is very missing today. But the other thing is that they can connect with human emotions, which is also very necessary for therapy. So people who have suffered grief, loss, trauma, etc., horses can actually recognize this. And Gaurav will talk much more about how they actually mirror what is going on with all the participants in our course, and you can actually see that. But they definitely mirror human emotions, and they can recognize what is called cross-modal emotions. So if there's a expression that is happy but the voice is not, they actually tune into that and they can recognize that. And horses also, to some extent, when they recognize there is sadness or a deeper grief, trauma, emotion, they help you to soothe, to self-regulate. They recognize that emotion and there is a connection. There's a lot of neuroscience, etc., that goes behind it, but there's something that's sometimes inexplicable. And there is just that connection that happens when you, as a person who is grieving or suffering, recognizes that soul
Yeah.
or spirit is connected to what you are and is trying to reach out to you and help you.
Shireen, while you're telling us there's so much science that backs this entire concept, this entire process, the science behind it is real, you're also telling us that this is something that you got to experience to believe it. I can almost feel that you're trying to convey that until and unless you're out there, you're interacting with the horse, you're not going to be able to quite understand this. But Gaurav, once again to you, what are these leadership qualities? We're talking about therapy, yes, and that's the umbrella concept here, that the connection is so real that it helps you understand what you're feeling. That could be to do with your leadership skills, it could be to do with your trauma, everything that you're feeling. But sticking to leadership skills, what are these qualities that emerge naturally when you're working with horses that traditional leadership models fail to capitalize on?
Okay, I'll take a little bit of a background. So every good training program or every good product is about finding a solution.
Yeah.
Right? So what is the solution that we are providing? What we are addressing is empathy deficit and trust deficit that exists today in the world and in the corporate environment. Do we have data to back that up? Yes. A very recent 2023 Gallup Workforce Survey highlights that the cost of disengaged employees to the global economy is $8.8 trillion. And one of the big reasons for disengagement is lack of empathy and lack of trust. So that's exactly what we are addressing. Yes, trust building is the foundation of our program, and empathy and trust go pretty much hand in hand. So to answer your question, which are the traits that come out? Now, this is some sort of an unfamiliar environment that participants are in out of the corporate world. So it is a bit of a pressure environment. And what happens in a pressure environment is that your default settings, your default character shows up. So to be able to work with horses, you have to display in a very raw format courage, acceptance, surrender, vulnerability, action, more than the voice, the action, because horses don't follow, they follow trust, they follow action. So these are the default inherent qualities that a leadership role requires that automatically shows up in our interactions.
And we're keeping up with these really fascinating visuals. Can you tell us what's going on here? Is there a training session step by step that you follow? Because I do see some people lying next to horses, some of them hugging the horses. So what's really going on here? Tell us a little bit about what we're seeing. It's really fascinating.
Yes. So it's a curated format. It's a 6 to 7 hour sessions. We take participants through various curated exercises with very strong message in all the exercises. We learn metaphorically, we learn with kinesthetics, which is your sensory perception of muscles. We learn with conversations. The art which is being lost, we learn with storytelling. The art which is much needed for future generations. So yes, what you're seeing on the screen is these are all various interactions. We follow a 4-dimensional feedback process. Every participant gets a feedback, firstly from self, second from the horse, third from the teammates, the way they observe your interactions, and fourthly from me. So that's the process we follow. Workshop usually starts with fear of horses and ends with selfie with horses. And that's the trust we instill from fear to selfie. It's a very, very trust building process.
Yeah, I was in fact going through a couple of videos and some of them actually said that this is something I never thought I could have attempted in my entire life, and then they're posing next to the horse. Lovely. Shireen, I will go across to Gaurav and understand, ask him to put it verbatim on what people's response has been, what feedback they've given. But tell us about psychological patterns here. Any observations that you've noted that people surely show, explain, experience after an equine session or after, this kind of an elaborate process or 8 hours that they normally spend with the horse?
So, echoing what Gaurav said, it usually starts off with apprehension and fear, also because they've never been around horses and, they can be just by sheer dint of size, rather daunting. But so it's really interesting for us to observe what it starts off as. So the horses walk in, and I don't want to steal Gaurav's thunder, but the horses walk in and they're led in. And everybody's standing around, and that is actually your classroom. And then they are let off their halters, and then you see the first reaction where everybody is like, oh my god, now we are just in this open space with these horses walking or running around. And but it's really interesting to see the dynamic of how it works. And what I have noticed, and what really has affected me and touched me the most, is in every session that we've done, the emotional vulnerability and the emotions that come to the surface by the end of the session are really very striking. And it's without exception. We had somebody who came in who had suffered a tremendous personal loss, and I think was just keeping the family together and had to be strong for everybody, etc. And after the session, there was just a complete release of that emotion, and the person saying that this is the first time I've actually been able to release this and feel lighter, and also experience my grief for what it is. So I think that it is just a really tremendous form of interaction which really should be much more encouraged.
And how do we get to that point of really bringing this concept to the mainstream? Gaurav, your thoughts there. And tell us a little bit about what people have told you verbatim. So leaders you've had these sessions with, what kind of changes have you observed in them after the session with the horses? And more importantly, are you able to track outcomes or, let's say, long-term transformation? Is it momentary, or does it stay with them for months or years at end?
So I'll answer your second question first. Momentarily, impact is very high, but like in any other training program, the future impact depends on participants' attitude, participants' habits, and the organization culture. I think these three are very important. With some of the organizations we've done the program, we are in talks to have a long-term annual engagement with them so that we can follow through. Right now, we've not reached that stage. Coming to your first question, what generally the reactions are at the end of the session, there's a common theme to that. People feel very light. People have experienced high level of trust and unconditional love. That's been the common theme. There have been smiles around, which is clearly reflecting the high level of dopamine rush and oxytocin that they have felt. So that's been a common theme.
And have people come up to you and said that there is one quality trait, negative feedback that I have sort of met with through this process right after an interaction? Has a major blind spot been unlocked, major breakthrough been witnessed through these sessions, something people have not been aware of? So there are so many traits of ours that we possibly don't open up to entirely. Does that happen too?
That happens often. So the concept of Johari window plays out all throughout the workshop. You see different side of yourself, your teammates see different side of you. And we've had a lot of interactions wherein people have said that I've known this person for 10 years, but I've never seen this side of the person. So that has happened. Like Shirin mentioned earlier, there have been multiple unlockings. One of them fairly recently was again a very, very emotional release, and this happened from a very senior participant, and they had a bunch of bottling emotions, this particular participant, bunch of bottling emotions which had something to do with personal grief, which that participant was roaming around with, and just never found a safe psychological environment to express. In our workshop, in that environment with the horses, the person found it safe enough to express. So there was a lot of release. Now, what's the impact of that? it leads to a lot of clarity. It leads to, tuning into your intuition, tuning into your gut. And those are the powerful tools that we personally have, which sadly we have tuned ourselves out of. We are not in tune with our intuition now. So that's a very powerful part of the process.
Okay, lovely. Now let's talk a little bit about the future and the challenges. Shireen, first up, where do you think this entire concept of leadership via horsemanship stands currently in the Indian context? A. B. How much science and research is still needed or is underway to further validate this form of leadership learning skills?
But I think pretty much stands nowhere in India right now, except for what Gaurav is really, what we are doing with the Horseman way, and maybe one or two other sporadic things. But I think that given the impact that it can have, and given how important it is, especially in today's world where we're so disconnected from each other, and B, from our own emotions and our own insights, I think that it's critical. I think that we need to have this more and more. There is research. Of course, there is always room for more research, and one should encourage that. But I think that it isn't out there. So while the research is there, or the evidence is actually out there, it isn't spoken about enough. There isn't enough awareness about it. So that is something that also we aim to do through this program. The second part of your question was?
No, the other thing I was asking was, where do you think it stands, which you answered already, that there's very little that we see right now in our country.
There's very little that
but
we
Gaurav
see.
wants to make a point. He wants to come in. He has a stronger point for sure that he wants to make immediately. Yes. Go ahead.
So awareness is what is needed. Thankfully, there is a lot of credibility-backed awareness in terms of various publications that have carried the subject. Harvard Business Review, Wall Street Journal, Financial Times, Forbes. Is the day and age of podcasts. So Front Row Podcast, Ken Coleman's, Chris Williamson's, they've carried this subject recently. In terms of research, emotions, what we work with is emotions, your brain and heart connection. And there has been a lot of research done on brain and heart connection by the Heart Math Institute in California. It's a non-profit organization operating from 1991, since 1991. And it has a lot of people associated with the organization who have been nominated for Nobel Prize. That level of people are associated with that institute. They have done research on the heart rate variability whilst interaction with horses. So we do have a good amount of research that is already backing the concept. But like Shireen says,
so is that not translating into reaching out to as many people, reaching out to the masses also, maybe, Gaurav, because it's whatever said and done considered a luxury? That's a little bit of a challenge.
It is a challenge. It is a luxury. Thankfully, we've been able to plug that in, and that is going to be an advantage for us because we've got great location that we operate out of and a super bunch of horses. So it will always have its share of infrastructure and cost challenges to make it available at a large scale.
Okay, lovely. These visuals have surely been great. For everyone watching this, it's a great start to the morning. So thank you so much for bringing out this wonderful concept and sharing your personal stories with us. Shireen, Gaurav, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, with that, we need to quickly, for the moment, shift our focus to the other big stories we're tracking from across the country, around the world, things you might have just missed out on. Trending across platforms, a photograph titled "The Fall of Icarus" has sent the internet into a spin. A stunning photograph showing a skydiver perfectly saluted against the blazing sun. You see those visuals on your screens. The shot was captured by Arizona astrophotographer Andrew McCarthy and skydiver Gabriel Brown, who spent months calculating the exact location, timing, aircraft glide path and jump moment. And after several failed attempts and technical glitches, the duo finally nailed the shot on their sixth try. The viral Labubu dolls may soon jump from shelves to the big screen. Sony Pictures has closed a deal to develop a feature film based on the popular plush toys, though it has not yet been decided whether the project will be live action or animated. Social media posts and celebrity endorsements have fueled the craze, turning Labubus into a global collectible sensation. Sony's film could launch a new franchise based on these dolls. A robot designed to transform vineyard operations with its advanced autonomous capabilities is undergoing trials in Italy called Fraschi. It is designed to carry out a range of functions, including monitoring grape clusters, manipulating plants, and applying spray treatments to the fruit, all autonomously. Fraschi's main goal is to address the challenges that the agriculture sector is facing, such as environmental sustainability and labor shortages, by combining robotics and artificial intelligence. Former First Lady Michelle Obama said that US is still not ready for a woman president, citing the unsuccessful bid of former Vice President Kamala Harris as an example. Speaking at an event in New York, responded to a question on whether the country had created enough space for a female leader. She said, and I caught her here, "We got a lot of growing up to do, a lot of men who do not feel like they can be led by a woman, and we saw it," unquote. Okay, well, with that, it's time for us to head into a very quick breather. Coming up next, though, is a very special conversation with Akbar Momim, the master of illusion and a 3D artist. We will go across to him to learn more about his story and all the years of effort that have gone into creating this beautiful art. We'll be right back.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Former Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has been sentenced to death by the International Crimes Tribunal in Dhaka after being convicted of crimes against humanity linked to last year's student-led protests that toppled her Awami League government. Hasina, currently in exile in India, was tried in absentia, and in an exclusive conversation with CNN News 18, she called the tribunal rigged and the judgment as politically motivated, describing it as a mock trial orchestrated by the Muhammad Yunus-led interim regime. The tribunal found her guilty on 3 counts: incitement, ordering the use of drones, helicopters and lethal weapons, and inaction amid mass killings. She has challenged the evidence as fabricated and manipulated. Following the verdict, Awami League has announced a nationwide shutdown and warned of unrest, while the BNP has backed this sentence, insisting it is evidence-based. Security has been tightened across Dhaka after sporadic violence and crude bomb attacks ahead of the ruling. Meanwhile, India's Ministry of External Affairs has said that it has noted the verdict and has a close neighbor. India remains committed to the best interests of the people of Bangladesh.
Sir, what is your first reaction to this verdict that has come today?
This verdict was known. This was a setup. This was a sham trial. This was completed within 2-3 months by an illegal government. They had to change the laws to enable this trial, and which can only be done by parliament. And the verdict was predetermined. My mother was not even allowed to hire her own attorneys, her own lawyers. So yes, this is a total sham.
And then how, what from now, the Awami League has already called in a shutdown, but how do you plan to go forward? Because such a sentence, that to a death sentence.
The sentence itself is a joke. My mother is safe in India. What are they going to do to her? This will all get overturned eventually when there is rule of law. Right now, there is no rule of law. And people have responded to our shutdowns in Bangladesh. And we are the largest party. We will fight this. Eventually, this regime will be out soon. And eventually, we will get back the rule of law and fight it.
How do you feel? Your grandfather has given the entire his life, your mother has given, you have faced, your family has faced so many things, and then something like this is happening now in Bangladesh.
Yes, unfortunately, it is the Jamaat-e-Islam and the Islamists that are backing this regime. They were the defeated forces from our war of independence, and this is their revenge. But again, for Bangladesh now. It's a matter of the future of Bangladesh, whether Bangladesh returns to stability or it becomes a failed Islamic state with terrorists running free. That is the future. So that is what remains to be seen. We are fighting. Our party is still there. We have the largest number of supporters in Bangladesh, and they are not going to stand for this.
My first reaction is that as you have seen Sheikh Hasina's reaction, she is very defiant. She is, training her guns at the Yunus regime. What kind of muscle does she still wield inside present-day Bangladesh, and what kind of muscle does the Awami League have as the political tensions are only escalating inside Bangladesh?
Okay, it is this question has we have two answers I can give. One is that the workers of Awami League, Awami League is one of the most popular organization in the country, and they have penetration in the grassroots level. Though grassroots level workers, they are fighting just after 5th August 2024, but now they are getting ground and they are organizing and they are getting direction from their...
Welcome back. On the Breakfast Club today, we're joined by Akbar Momim, an artist from Sidhpur in Gujarat. He's unexpectedly become the face of India's newest viral art moment. His latest portrait of Lord Ram's reflection transforming into Lord Hanuman has left the internet stunned for its flawless illusion. Momim has long mastered anamorphic painting, crafting images that shift entirely with perspective. Today, the world is applauding his talent, and we believe India is rediscovering an artist who turns a single canvas into pure visual magic. Akbar Momim joins us this morning. Akbar ji, thank you so much for being with us. धन्यवाद जुड़ने के लिए. सबसे पहले तो हमें बताइए, बहुत खूबसूरत तस्वीरें हम देख रहे हैं आपके पीछे. कई तस्वीरें इनमें से वायरल हो गई हैं, सब इसकी बात कर रहे हैं, पर आपकी जो कहानी है, जो इतने साल आपने मुंबई में समय बिताया, फिर आप गुजरात आए, उसके बारे में थोड़ा बताइए. और 3D पेंटिंग इसमें कहाँ आपसे जुड़ी? शुरू से 3D पेंटिंग का कुछ रोल था या एकदम से कुछ लाइफ ने 3D पेंटिंग की तरफ आपको मोड़ दिया?
हाँ मैम, मैं ऑलरेडी एक थोड़ी सी पहले की ओल्ड कहानी बताता हूँ. बचपन से मुझे शौक था, गरीब परिवार से मैं था, माँ बाप खेडूत थे. ड्राइंग टीचर ने मुझे बॉम्बे जाने को बोला. बॉम्बे में मैंने काफी स्ट्रगल किया. जे स्कूल ऑफ आर्ट में मैंने अपनी स्टडी ज्वाइन की. पैसों की वजह से, गरीब की वजह से मैंने ऑलरेडी पेंटिंग लाइन छोड़ दी मजबूरी में, क्योंकि ऑलरेडी उसका खर्चा मैं नहीं उठा सकता था. फिर मैंने बॉम्बे में अपना खुद का एक बिजनेस शुरू किया कि जिससे 2 पैसा मिले. रही बात पेंटिंग और 3D की, 3D का मैंने 7 बरस पहले ही स्टार्ट किया है, क्योंकि मुझे कैनवास पेंटिंग से बहुत मजा नहीं आ रही थी, दिल को खुशी नहीं हो रही थी. तो ये 3D का सब्जेक्ट मुझे बहुत पसंद आया, मैंने शुरू किया. और ये मोदी साहब की मैंने पेंटिंग पहले बनाई, जो बनाने में मुझे 6 महीना लगा. जब भी मैंने मिरर रखा तो इसके अंदर अमित शाह दिख रहे थे. ये काफी वायरल हो गई. उसके बाद तुरंत मैंने श्री हनुमान जी की पेंटिंग बनाई. श्री हनुमान की पेंटिंग मैं पानी में लेके जाता हूँ, पानी के सामने लेके जाता हूँ तो श्री राम के दर्शन होते हैं. वो काफी वायरल पूरे हिंदुस्तान में देखी. तो मुझे खुशी हुई, मुझे हौसला बढ़ने लगा कि मैं इस तरह की 3D पर पेंटिंग बनाऊं. बस ये मेरी छोटी सी कहानी है. कोई मैं प्रोफेशनल आर्टिस्ट नहीं हूँ, लेकिन एक लगन से काम करता हूँ और मुझे सुकून होता है. मेरे चाहने वाले मुझे एक प्रशंसा करते हैं तो खुशी होती है एक आर्टिस्ट को।
जी अकबर जी, हर आर्टिस्ट का एक क्रिएटिव प्रोसेस होता है। आपका क्रिएटिव प्रोसेस क्या है? क्या आपके दिमाग में, जहन में ऑलरेडी होता है आप किस चीज़ पे काम करेंगे? अगर 3D पेंटिंग है तो उसका दूसरा रुख कैसा होगा? आपके क्रिएटिव प्रोसेस के बारे में बताइए।
नहीं, वो तो एक आर्टिस्ट कोई सब्जेक्ट लेके बैठता है तो हम लोग बैठते हैं सब्जेक्ट लेके, तभी ऑटोमेटिक ये कुदरत ही दे देती है। मुझे तो कुदरत ही ऑलरेडी सब्जेक्ट दे देती है और उस पर हम थोड़ा ट्रायल करते हैं, रफ ट्रायल करते हैं। जैसे कि कोई भी आर्टिस्ट होता है तो कोई भी अपना कैनवास पे पेंटिंग बनाने के लिए वो पेपर पे स्केच या कुछ भी ट्रायल मारता है और उस तरह से ट्रायल करके वो अपनी ओरिजिनल पिक्चर बाहर लाते हैं। तो मैं भी इस तरह से ऐसी सोच रखता था कि कुछ पेंटिंग वैसी बनाऊं, क्योंकि मैंने जब मोदी साहब की पेंटिंग बनाई तो काफी मीडिया मान नहीं रही थी, पब्लिक नहीं मान रही थी कि फैक्ट है, ये पेंटिंग ऑलरेडी पेंटिंग नहीं है, कुछ एडिटिंग है। क्योंकि बहुत सारी मीडिया आके इधर न्यूज लिया और उनको बताया कि ऑलरेडी पेंटिंग एक रस्सी पे मैंने की है, एक बारीक रस्सी के ऊपर मैंने वन साइड पे मोदी साहब की या श्री राम की पेंटिंग बनाई है और उसके बैक साइड पे मैंने श्री हनुमान जी या अमित शाह की जो पेंटिंग बनाई है। और ये बनाने के लिए काफी टाइम लगता है, छोटे बारीक ब्रश से उसको काम करना पड़ता है। आई ग्लास लेके ये 8-8, 10-10 घंटा हम पागलपन की तरह काम करते हैं तब ये बाहर आती है। तो इंडिया में
कितना समय लगता है? 8-10 घंटे हर रोज कितने दिन देने पड़ते हैं अकबर जी?
हाँ, 8 से 10 घंटा मेरी कैपेसिटी उम्र के हिसाब से 8-10 घंटा मैं काम कर ही लेता हूँ। लेकिन ये पेंटिंग पूरा करने में मुझे पहली पेंटिंग करने में 6 महीना लगा था। जैसे प्रैक्टिस होती है तो मैं 4 महीने में किया और श्री राम और हनुमान की मेरी पेंटिंग का ऑर्डर ज्यादा आने लगा तो मैं और थोड़ा टाइम ज्यादा लेने लगा और प्रैक्टिस के हिसाब से थोड़ी थियरी चेंज करके अमेरिका में मेरी 5 से 6 पेंटिंग मंदिरों में लगी है और काफी लोग हाउस में लगा रहे हैं। बस ये मेरी जर्नी। और
बहुत लोग ये भी बोल रहे हैं कि एक मुसलमान आर्टिस्ट हनुमान जी की, राम जी की तस्वीरें बना रहे हैं। हेडलाइंस में भी ऐसे दर्शाई जा रही है कहानी। क्या आपको थोड़ा सा लगता है कि इसमें क्या लेना देना कि आप कहाँ से हैं, किस धर्म के हैं, और पेंटिंग अच्छा कर रही है, लोगों के दिलों को छू रही है और बस उतना ही इम्पोर्टेंट है, उतना ही अहमियत रखता है? आपको क्या लगता है जब आप ऐसे देखते हैं कि लोग इतना चौकन्ना क्यों हो रहे हैं?
नहीं, मैं तो हिंदू नहीं मानता हूँ, मुसलमान नहीं मानता हूँ, एक इंसान हूँ और ये जो कुछ मुझे मिला है, ये आर्ट हो, सिंगिंग हो, डांसिंग हो, जो भी आर्ट कला होती है वो कुदरत देती है, सीखने से नहीं आता है। और हम आर्टिस्ट लोग, हर आर्टिस्ट का एक नेचर देखो कि जो उसको आर्ट मिलती है या बख्शिश मिलती है, वो धर्म के बारे में कोई चर्चा नहीं करता है। धर्म एक ही है, बस इंसानियत का धर्म, इंसानियत का धर्म।
जी मोमिन जी, अभी हमारे साथ बहुत ऐसे यंग आर्टिस्ट जुड़े होंगे जो आपका काम देख रहे हैं और उससे प्रेरणा भी मिल रही है उनको। आपका सजेशन, टिप्स क्या रहेंगे उनके लिए, जो भी एस्पायरिंग 3D आर्टिस्ट हैं जो इसमें पूरी तरह से घुसना चाहते हैं? आप अपने एक्सपीरियंस से क्या बताएंगे उनको?
नहीं, ऑलरेडी जो चाहने वाले या जो अभी देख रहे हैं वो आर्टिस्ट को मैं यही बोलूंगा कि आज 3D का जमाना है, युग चेंज हो गया है, समय चेंज हो गया है, लोगों को कुछ नया चाहिए। और एक 3D में ऐसी ऐसी चीजें हम ला सकते हैं और लोग देखते हैं सोशल मीडिया में क्या नई नई चीजें, बहुत सारे आर्टिस्ट अपनी अपनी चीज दिखाते हैं और काफी मुझे भी अच्छी लगती है। लेकिन आर्टिस्ट को बस इतना ही बोलूंगा कि प्रैक्टिस करते जाइए, कुछ नया मटेरियल, नई चीज यूज करते जाइए, ऑटोमेटिक ऊपर वाला साथ देता है। हमारी मेहनत होती है, ऊपर वाला अपने को आप लाइन देता है कि ये नया क्रिएशन इस तरह से करो।
जी मोमिन साहब, किसी भी आर्टिस्ट से पूछना कि उसका फेवरेट काम क्या है, बहुत बहुत मुश्किल सवाल है, इसका जवाब बहुत मुश्किल है, पर क्या हमारे पास एक जवाब है? आपकी कोई ऐसी तस्वीर, कोई ऐसा काम जो आपने किया जो आपके दिल के बहुत करीब है, खास है?
हाँ, बहुत। जैसे अभी आप ऑलरेडी अमित साहब की तस्वीर देख रहे हैं, अगर आप इजाजत दो तो ये 3D ऐसी चीज होती है कि खास जगह पे से उसका मतलब लुक दिखता है, तो मुझे खड़ा होके आपको दिखाना पड़ेगा, अगर आपका परमिशन।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल दिखाइए जी,
मुझे इजाजत। तो जस्ट मैं मोदी साहब की ओर दिखाता हूँ, थोड़ा सा मेरे कैमरामैन को बोलूंगा कि कैमरा नजदीक लाके, तो आपको अच्छी डिटेल मिलेगी। ये मोदी साहब की पेंटिंग है, ऑलरेडी नजदीक कैमरामैन को बोलूंगा कि मैंने रस्सी पेश की है, और रस्सी की वन साइड पे मैंने मोदी जी की पेंटिंग की है, और रस्सी की बैक साइड जो ये रस्सी मैंने पेश की है, रस्सी की बैक साइड में मैंने अमित शाह की पेंटिंग की है। तो ये मिरर तो कभी झूठ नहीं बोलेगा, मिरर में जो पीछे का बैक साइड है वो रिफ्लेक्शन देता है
जी।
तो इस तरह से मैंने श्री राम और हनुमान की भी पेंटिंग बनाई है, और ये आप नजदीक से देखेंगे तो आपको बिल्कुल कैमरामैन को बोलूंगा कि नजदीक आवे। ये बिल्कुल खंबे मैंने आड़े टेढ़े खंबे लगाए हुए हैं, और एक खास जगह पे जो मतलब एक सीढ़ी के लिए एक मार्किंग होती है, मार्किंग में जाएंगे तो आपको एक अमिताभ बच्चन की दिखती होगी। उस तरह से मेरी ये पेंटिंग भी है कि ऑलरेडी ये मेरा काम अभी चालू है जस्ट। तो ये दो चेहरे मतलब एक ही कैनवास में आते हैं, ये भी रस्सी से बन रहा है, अभी काम इसका चालू है। और मेरी कल एक एटलांटा यूएसए में पेंटिंग जा रही है, मैं आपको दिखाऊंगा। ये सामने दिखती है पेंटिंग ऑलरेडी। ये दो चेहरे हैं, एक ही कैनवास है, दो चेहरे। ये साइड से आपको अलग चेहरा दिखता है, कैमरा मैं इसको बोलूंगा कि वो साइड चेंज करेंगे तो आपको ऑटोमेटिक एक दूसरा चेहरा मिलेगा। ये बनाने में 3 से 4 महीना और बहुत बारीक और डिटेलिंग लेना पड़ता है
जी। कौन बोल सकता है मोमिन साहब कि 3-4 महीने में आपने इतनी सुंदर पेंटिंग बनाई है, कोई कह ही नहीं सकता है। मोमिन जी, एक आखिरी सवाल आपसे, आपको अलविदा कहने से पहले हम ये कहना चाह रहे हैं और ये पूछना चाह रहे हैं कि आपने हमें जो अपना स्टूडियो दिखाया है, इसके पीछे भी एक कहानी है। काफ़ी समय लग गया आपको ये स्टूडियो चुनने में, पैसा जोड़ के यहाँ पे अपनी पेंटिंग्स काम लगाने में, और अब यहाँ पे काफ़ी लोग हर रोज़ आते हैं आपका पेंटिंग देखने। तो वो वार्तालाप कैसे रहती है, क्या बोलते हैं लोग?
लोगों को ऑलरेडी सही में बोलो कि पेंटिंग के बारे में एक तो ज्यादा नॉलेज नहीं होता है। अपने इंडिया में पेंटिंग का नॉलेज थोड़ा कम है। इंडिया में लोग दूसरे मनोरंजन जैसे कि आर्ट में, जैसे फिल्म लाइन है, सॉन्ग है, डांस है, उसमें ज्यादा मानते हैं, लेकिन आर्ट फील्ड में कम है। हर आर्टिस्ट का एक कंप्लेंट है कि उनकी बहुत सारी अच्छी पेंटिंग भी दिखती नहीं है, क्योंकि लोग आर्ट के बारे में कुछ ज्यादा जानते नहीं है
जी। मोमिन साहब, आपने एक ये भी बात कही थी कि जो आपने प्रधानमंत्री और अमित शाह जी की ये जो पेंटिंग बनाई है, ये आप उनको देना चाहेंगे क्या? कुछ बातचीत हो पाई है उसके बारे में थोड़ा बताइए।
बहुत लोगों ने मुझे बोला, बहुत लोगों ने बोला कि ये पेंटिंग हम मोदी साहब को प्रेजेंट देने जाएंगे। हमारे चितपुर सिटी के लोग भी बोले कि इसको हम दिल्ली जाके मोदी साहब को प्रेजेंट देंगे, खुश होंगे। लेकिन मेरी ये पहली पेंटिंग है। मुझे लंदन से इसकी $1 मिलियन की ऑफर आई थी, मैंने पेंटिंग नहीं बेचा था।
अच्छा।
क्योंकि इससे मुझे प्रेरणा मिली है और इतनी वायरल पेंटिंग है कि इसको मैं स्टूडियो में रखना चाहता हूँ।
जी, खास है ये, आपके दिल के करीब है, ये अपने पास ही रखेंगे।
करीब है।
जी मोमिन साहब, इतना ही समय था हमारे पास। थैंक यू सो मच जुड़ने के लिए और हमारा दिन बनाने के लिए और इतनी खूबसूरत तस्वीरें हम तक पहुंचाने के लिए। थैंक यू फॉर जॉइनिंग अस।
थैंक यू मैम।
Okay, all right. With that, we shift our focus to the roads for a bit. Here's a quick look at the Suzuki XP, also called Cross Speed. It's a compact crossover designed to mix SUV styling with city-friendly practicality. How does it perform on track? Here's the overdrive verdict.
Now this is the Suzuki XB, and could this very well be the next sub 4 meter SUV from Maruti Suzuki, because it looks like a really fun take on what a sub 4 meter SUV can be in India. For example, look at the shape, it's more MPV, boxy-ish. Now the 5-door Jimny is there for reference. It seems quite heavily inspired by that. By the way, that's made in India, right at home. You can buy that here in Japan. But this seems like a Jimny, but something that you can live with a bit easier every day. Now I really like these lighting elements, the way they're done, has that very typical 60s, 70s Kika vibes going, the grille. It also has some form of ADAS, which is good. Front parking sensors, very typically Maruti, the way it looks, but also very typically retro. Now under the bonnet, again, it's very familiar. It's the same 1.2 3-cylinder Z series that you have in the Swift and the Desire. So we know how amazingly efficient that engine is, and we also know that they're very usable in our conditions at least. So that's what is the engine of this XB. By the way, those are the dimensions to give you a quick idea. So fits right into sub 4 meter territory. Now I also like these decals, again somewhat reminiscent of the Jimny. The bonnet itself reminds you a little bit of the Jimny, so that's great. Now as cool and as retro as it is from the outside, it's similarly funky, so to speak, on the inside. As you can see, the interiors are very, very retro themed, but also very modern. If you've seen the new Victoris and many of those modern Maruti Suzuki SUVs, you'll notice a lot of those parts that have been shared. Now, for example, this is very typically Maruti Suzuki. This is the new infotainment setup that you've seen in a lot of the cars, the Fronx, the Jimny, even the new Victoris has a very similar infotainment screen. The steering wheel again feels a straight lift from the Victoris. You have that head-up display everywhere nowadays in Maruti Suzuki cars. I'm sorry about that beeping. I don't know how to turn it off. I guess I'll probably have to turn off the car fully. But you have a digital instrument cluster, very nice, stocks very similar. But there's a lot of that Jimny vibe going on. For example, you have these bottle holders here, rubberized pads. I also like how the material and finishes are done. They're very sturdy and well made. They're not soft paneled, but they give you that impression, and they have that tough, rugged ladder frame SUV kind of feel. But when you look at the center console, it's so practical. Now, the only thing that I think is missing is a wireless charger, but you have this very open arrangement here, this automatic parking brake, powered parking brake, so you have a lot of space. Heated seats, maybe for the Indian market, ventilated seats would be better. You have a sport mode and a snow mode. Now, that is something we don't get in India, and maybe Suzuki or Maruti could start putting those here in our cars. There's also a little bit of an off-road mode and a hill descent control. Now you see that at a lot of places. I like this very funky gear lever. I'm guessing is the Aisin 6-speed torque converter. You have the similar kind of paddles. But just look at the headroom. Here in Japan, people don't have that fascination for sunroofs. Just how amazingly high the headroom is, and just look at the glass area. I mean, now I'll show you the back seat, now this is where this Suzuki XB really starts to make sense for India, because just look at the space. I mean, it's sub 4 meter. I don't have the exact wheelbase kind of spec for you, but it has that fully flat entry. So getting in, and the flat floor. So getting in is especially simple. Now, as you can see, I have quite an amazing amount of legroom and space, as you can see. This is almost as close to the Brezza, if I remember correctly. Maybe not as close, but definitely you're in Baleno territory here, which is great. I also have the straight table. It's not the most sturdy, but I guess it will get the job done. You have a center armrest for the front kind of arrangement. Nothing really in the back seat, which some of us will miss in our country. But I can still, if I find a way to do it, as you can see, I can slide and recline, and I have a massive, comfortable sub 4 meter SUV for me. Yes, 3 abreast will be a bit tight, but it doesn't seem like Suzuki even wants this to be a 5-seater. Again, somewhat reminiscent of the Jimny, but yeah, this is what it's like.
All right, shifting gears now to the world of entertainment. CNN News 18's Purnima Murli had this candid chat with Samantha Ruth Prabhu, who shares more on owning her own new pickleball team and the big, bold decisions she's made in the last 1.5 years or so. Listen in.
Joining us is actor turned entrepreneur Samantha. Thank you so much for talking to us. The first season was a success, considering how it began to where you've reached was quite an achievement, is what I felt.
You followed it. That's amazing. Yeah, we started off at a great disadvantage, right? We lost our top pick and she couldn't get a visa. So it took us a while for us to get back up and re-strategize and regroup, because when you lose your top pick, you are at a great disadvantage. So, but at the end, the team really came together and they won the last few games. So we truly understood teamwork in that aspect. And there's a lot that we learned from the first championships, and we're in a better space this time, and better team. No, good team. I would say the previous team was also great, but this time as well, we have a great team, great coach, and we're looking forward.
The name was coined by you, is what I was told. Where did you get this idea? Is it similar to CSK?
Yeah. Well, when you dream big, you must dream very, very big. So if you maybe name it something close to the Giant, one day you will be close. Yeah.
And also, when you look at these leagues, why did you choose Chennai? Is it because
I wasn't even offered Chennai first, but I said that I put my foot down. It's like, if I'm not getting Chennai, I'm not doing this. It is very, very important for me to buy the Chennai Super Champs, because this is home and this is where I'll keep coming back. So everything I do has to have some sort of connection with Chennai, and hence the Chennai Super Champs. I definitely wouldn't have been part of the pickleball league if I didn't get Team Chennai.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Former Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has been sentenced to death by the International Crimes Tribunal in Dhaka after being convicted of crimes against humanity linked to last year's student-led protests that toppled her Awami League government. Hasina, currently in exile in India, was tried in absentia, and in an exclusive conversation with CNN News 18, she called the tribunal rigged and the judgment as politically motivated, describing it as a mock trial orchestrated by the Muhammad Yunus-led interim regime. The tribunal found her guilty on 3 counts: incitement, ordering the use of drones, helicopters and lethal weapons, and inaction amid mass killings. She has challenged the evidence as fabricated and manipulated. Following the verdict, Awami League has announced a nationwide shutdown and warned of unrest, while the BNP has backed this sentence, insisting it is evidence-based. Security has been tightened across Dhaka after sporadic violence and crude bomb attacks ahead of the ruling. Meanwhile, India's Ministry of External Affairs has said that it has noted the verdict and has a close neighbor. India remains committed to the best interests of the people of Bangladesh.
Sir, what is your first reaction to this verdict that has come today?
This verdict was known. This was a setup. This was a sham trial. This was completed within 2-3 months by an illegal government. They had to change the laws to enable this trial, and which can only be done by parliament. And the verdict was predetermined. My mother was not even allowed to hire her own attorneys, her own lawyers. So yes, this is a total sham.
And then how, what from now, the Awami League has already called in a shutdown, but how do you plan to go forward? Because such a sentence, that to a death sentence.
The sentence itself is a joke. My mother is safe in India. What are they going to do to her? This will all get overturned eventually when there is rule of law. Right now, there is no rule of law. And people have responded to our shutdowns in Bangladesh. And we are the largest party. We will fight this. Eventually, this regime will be out soon. And eventually, we will get back the rule of law and fight it.
How do you feel, your grandfather has given the entire his life, your mother has given, you have faced, your family has faced so many things, and then something like this is happening now in Bangladesh?
Yes, unfortunately, it is the Jamaat-e-Islam and the Islamists that are backing this regime.
के साथ है जनरली सेंट्रल लाइफ इंश्योरेंस, आपका लाइफ टाइम पार्टनर.
And now we bring to you a special section on financial markets powered by Money Control Pro, Money Control's premium destination for investing in business insights. First in markets, GIFT Nifty is indicating a muted opening for Indian stock markets. US stock markets close lower as investors brace for quarterly results. Asian stock markets open lower, tracking the losses in US stocks. And crude oil prices ease as loadings resume at a key Russian oil export hub. Speaking of the healthcare sector in particular, large corporate hospitals are well positioned to benefit from the rising healthcare demand in India. Rising income, awareness and insurance penetration is accelerating this very trend, and hospitals are making the most of this favorable trend and adding capacity further. There's also a strong demand for adjacent services like diagnostics and healthcare delivered at home. So don't forget to log into Money Control Pro to find out more about the hospitals industry and other actionable insights on markets. Well, that's all we could pack for you this Tuesday morning. Don't forget to send in your suggestions on our official website. Thanks for staying with us on The Breakfast Club. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Bye-bye.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Former Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has been sentenced to death by the International Crimes Tribunal in Dhaka after being convicted of crimes against humanity linked to last year's student-led protests that toppled her Awami League government. Hasina, currently in exile in India, was tried in absentia, and in an exclusive conversation with CNN News 18, she called the tribunal rigged and the judgment as politically motivated, describing it as a mock trial orchestrated by the Muhammad Yunus-led interim regime. The tribunal found her guilty on 3 counts: incitement, ordering the use of drones, helicopters and lethal weapons, and inaction amid mass killings. She has challenged the evidence as fabricated and manipulated. Following the verdict, Awami League has announced a nationwide shutdown and warned of unrest, while the BNP has backed this sentence, insisting it is evidence-based. Security has been tightened across Dhaka after sporadic violence and crude bomb attacks ahead of the ruling. Meanwhile, India's Ministry of External Affairs has said that it has noted the verdict and has a close neighbor India remains committed to the best interests of the people of Bangladesh.
Sir, what is your first reaction to this